Imagine you've recently taken over Bethesda Bookstore, a quaint but struggling two-store chain. Sales have been declining over the past few months, leaving you concerned about its future. Desperate for answers, you hear rumors of a world-renowned consultant in town. Intrigued, you schedule a meeting for the next day. The morning sun casts a soft glow as you wait. The bell above the door jingles, and a tall, lean figure strides in, clad in an old-fashioned trench coat. He says,
"Good day. I believe you're expecting me. Sherlock Holmes, at your service."
Stunned, you can barely respond. Why would Sherlock Holmes, a detective, not a management consultant, appear at your humble bookstore? Yet, before you can ask, he begins to walk through the aisles, his sharp eyes missing nothing. Without turning around, he says,
"Your bookstore has potential, but it's on the brink of collapse. I can see it in the dust on these shelves and the faint smell of stagnation. However, the solution is elementary. What you need are analytics and AI."
You blurt out, "Analytics and AI? What are these things? And how are they different?" Holmes chuckles.
Glad you asked. The goal of analytics is to understand the past, much like how I solve mysteries. The goal of AI, on the other hand, is to predict and invent the future. Let me demonstrate. First, show me your monthly revenue for the past 4 months.
You print out a bar chart and hand it over. Revenue was steady around $300K from April to May, but it dropped to $200K in June and July. What do you think caused the dip? Sherlock's eyes gleam.
Interesting. Let's apply a method in analytics called quantitative segmentation to pinpoint the issue.
At Sherlock's guidance, you dive deeper into the data. Together, you break down the revenue by key factors: store locations, customers' demographics, book genres, and day-of-week sales patterns. After hours of sifting through the data, something catches your eye. Wait a second. Sales on Wednesdays and Fridays dropped dramatically in June and July, while other days remained stable. Why just those 2 days? Sherlock smiled.
Great observation. Now let's move beyond the numbers. It's time for some qualitative analysis.
He begins interviewing your staff and observing customers in the store. He notices a few patrons wandering aimlessly, a hint of disappointment on their faces. Approaching a young lady, Sherlock asks,
"Excuse me, do you find everything to your liking?"
The lady sighs.
I was hoping to attend one of the author talks that used to be held here on Fridays. They were the highlight of my week, but they seem to have stopped recently.
You slap your forehead in realization. Of course, the previous owner mentioned something about weekly authors events, but I was so overwhelmed with the transition that I didn't continue them. They must have driven foot traffic. Determined to rectify the situation, you ask, "So, should I reinstate the authors' talks on those days?"
Hold on. Before rushing to conclusions, let's test the hypothesis with a controlled experiment.
Sherlock warns. "What's a controlled experiment?" you ask, bewildered. Sherlock explains.
Among your 2 bookstores, A and B, we'll implement different strategies in August. Bookstore A will continue without events, while we bring back author talks at Bookstore B.
That's brilliant, you agree. If our theory holds, we should see an increase in revenue at Bookstore B compared to that of Bookstore A. Over the next month, you revive the author talks at Bookstore B. The buzz returns, and customers flood the store. In early September, Sherlock reviews the results with you. Bookstore B's Wednesday and Friday revenue not only rebounded, but surpassed the previous levels, while Bookstore A's stayed flat. Holmes smiles.
Excellent. The data proves our hypothesis. By blending quantitative segmentation to pinpoint the problem, qualitative studies to gain deeper insights, and experiment design to validate hypotheses, you've mastered the power of analytics. Now, let's talk about AI. Analytics has helped you understand the past, but AI will help you predict and invent the future. Let me introduce you to 2 of my most trusted AI companions.
He reaches into his trench coat and pulls out a polished wooden toolbox, setting it down on the counter.
Ah, here it is, the machine learning toolbox.
Your eyes widen as he opens it, revealing an array of unusual tools, some old-fashioned, others sleek and futuristic. Sherlock inquires.
Let me ask you, how are you currently helping customers find the books they would enjoy?
You shrug, mostly through staff recommendations or general selections. But it's hit or miss, Sherlock nods, lifting a glowing magnifying glass from the box.
This is the recommendation system tool. It analyzes past purchases to suggest books tailored to each customer's preferences, like Netflix, but for books. Imagine every customer finding something they love rather than wandering aimlessly.
You nod. The concept begins to make sense. So, each customer gets personalized book recommendations?
Exactly. Much more effective than leaving it up to chance.
Next, Sherlock picks up a cluster of tiny trees connected by fine wires.
Now, tell me, how do you decide which new books to promote?
You sigh. It's really just a guess. We look at national best bookseller lists and hope for the best. Sherlock smiles, holding up the tool.
This is the Random Forest tool. It can help you predict whether a new book will become a bestseller in your store using data like genre popularity and customer preferences. No more guessing. You can make decisions backed by data.
You can almost feel the relief at the thought of more predictable sales. Finally, Sherlock lifts a thin, futuristic rod, humming with energy.
One last question. Do you know when to restock, or do you just order more as books sell out?
You admit, we order when stock gets low, but sometimes we are caught off guard with big sales or end up with too much inventory. Sherlock raises the rod.
This is the Time Series Forecasting tool. It analyzes your store's past sales patterns to predict future demand. No more scrambling for last-minute orders. You'll anticipate stock needs weeks or even months ahead.
That's amazing, you exclaim. These machine learning tools can help me run my bookstore much more efficiently. Sherlock pauses.
There's another thing I must show you. This tool doesn't fit in the box. It's far too powerful.
The lights flicker as the door swings open. A towering, sleek figure steps inside. Its polished metal gleaming, blue eyes glowing with intelligence.
Meet my robot brother, Mycroft, one of the most powerful generative AI models in the world.
Sherlock says with a flourish.
He's built like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Meta's Llama, Anthropic's Claude, and Google's Gemini. They don't just predict, they invent.
Sherlock gestures toward Mycroft, who extends his robotic hand.
Mycroft can create entirely new content from the vast data he's absorbed. Need a custom promotional email? He can draft it in seconds. Looking for fresh event ideas? He'll generate the most compelling suggestions.
Mycroft's mechanical voice hums.
Would you like me to generate a new marketing strategy for the store?
Before you can answer, Sherlock raises a hand.
We'll get to that in time. For now, just know that with Mycroft, the possibilities are endless. Next time, we'll explore how to communicate effectively with Mycroft. After all, wielding such a powerful tool requires not just knowledge, but wisdom.